All right, we are live.
We're live. Awesome. No Manny yet.
Nope.
So Chuck, how much of your news are you willing to make public? Any new developments on the
on which?
On the podcasters that you were talking to.
Right. So Ray Wenderlich, raywenderlich.com, they do courses and books on mobile development, so iOS, Android, AR, VR, that kind of thing. So they're gearing up for their 9th season on their podcast. And so I ran into Ray at MicroConf, like I said last week. I didn't want to say anything until I had it confirmed. So we talked on Monday for about a half hour. We BS'd for the first 20 minutes and got down to business, and I got everything I needed from him. So, yeah, literally 10 minutes of business talking. Then I jumped on my email, and I sent an email out to my 2 biggest sponsors and said, hey, do either of you want this? TripleByte got back to me and said, yeah, we want it the whole season, but we don't want to sponsor the newsletter. So I emailed him back on Wednesday, and he was like, oh, great, just let me know which episodes are sponsoring. So I emailed him back, and I was like, all of them. And he's like, oh, the whole season, great, that's awesome. We'll send you an invoice.
Nice.
So
nice. That's awesome.
I told a couple people, I was like, yeah, so I made about $2,500 in about 25 minutes of effort and 10 years of podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$1,000 a minute for that.
Yeah, and 10 years of podcasting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he was paying me for, is that I have relationships with people. So
yeah.
I reached out to another podcast, and I started getting details from them, and then I got we're gonna hold off on this right now. And I think you guys know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to run into them at a conference sooner or later, so I'll wind up being able to talk to them and find out what the deal is.
Forever.
You just need you just need some success stories, like the Ray one. Once you get him on board, and then you're able to increase their earnings on it, right?
Well,
and
yeah.
Then
the coordination on it got easy too, because I told Ray, I was like, so do you want to just run them like mine? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. And so I reached out to the TripleByte and I said, can I just send them what you sent me? And they said, yep. And I was like, okay.
Perfect.
That was easy.
Nice.
And then I've reached out to one podcast about bringing them into devchat.tv, because they haven't produced an episode since November.
Yeah.
And I know pretty much all of their hosts, and I've got a couple people who are asking me if they can be on a DevOps show. So I'm just gonna email them every Monday until they tell me to go away, or
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm hoping that I can make that happen. And then I actually tweeted on Twitter and I said, are there any programming shows that you wish were still running that aren't anymore? And I got like 3 or 4 more people coming out and saying, I really, 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 really miss this show. And 1 or 2 of the shows are in areas that there really aren't other podcasts in. But they had a decent sized audience, so I'm probably going to reach out to them too. One of them's actually on another podcast network, so I'm going to be reaching out to the podcast network and saying, hey, can we take the show on?
Yeah.
That's
nice.
Cool.
But, and then, did I tell you that I'm building a podcast booth to take to NGConf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that got finalized. They actually said, let us pay to rent the booth. So they basically bought all the materials for me.
Oh, perfect. There you
go. And anyway, so that was a super big win. So now I'm reaching out to all the podcasters I know are either in the Salt Lake area and cover JavaScript or something, or are going to be at the conference anyway because they're speaking. And I'm working with them to actually line up, times with the speakers and things like that. But I'm running into one issue where they're not really being specific with me about who they want or when they can talk to them. And so what I think I might do is I might go back to the conference and say, hey, look, can you talk to these people that I know they're going to want? And then, just say, hey, look, can you come talk to podcasters for 2 or 3 hours? And then I can go back to them and I can say, look, we got Brad Green, for example, is the PM for Angular. And he's the one that kind of knows everything that's going on. And so I could say, look, we have 45-minute slots with Brad. They're all after the keynote where they make all the big announcements. Which slot do you want? Right? And that way I think I can kind of get them into, oh, yeah, that's an idea. So
nice.
But yeah, so at this point, I'm just looking at promotion and things like that. I've had conversations with other people here, and I ironed some stuff out with somebody else. So it turned out that the remnant space deal that we talked about on the show 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
So he wasn't looking to like backfill my ads with his ads. He was actually looking to advertise for his platform.
Oh, okay.
Which is it's a different conversation because he's essentially trying to get the word out about his platform to open source folks so that he can help sponsor them, which is a different equation for me because that's something that I actually care about.
Right.
I looked at him and I said, oh, I wouldn't have been so aggressive if I'd known that was what the deal was. So we kind of ironed that out, and we're now talking about just like an ongoing rev share of whoever I refer to them.
Okay.
So whatever the total advertising dollar is, I'll probably get like 5% of that ongoing for a year or something like that. So anyway, so yeah, so things have gone pretty well, but yeah, the developments have just kind of been incremental. So yeah, so that's kind of where things are there.
Cool.
But yeah, I also got Asley. She's one of my show notes writers. I got her onboarded, so she's now finding me 10 new potential sponsors every week.
Oh wow! Oh good.
She sent me a list of 15 yesterday because I said, look, I don't have an exhaustive list of all the people who have sponsored in the past, and I don't want you to bug anybody who shouldn't be bugged. So you have to send me the list first and let me approve it.
Okay.
But that takes me all of like 2 minutes. So she sent me the list, and I'm like, yeah, don't bug that person or that person, right? And then on one of them, I was like, actually, on second thought, bug that person. Right? I haven't talked to him in years.
Is that prospecting out of spite?
No, but man, that echo from Manny is awful.
Yeah, he's working on it, I think.
I'm trying to fix it. I don't understand what's going on.
When we talk, it bounces off the wall behind you and comes back to us. You need to put headphones in.
Dude, I tried that shit. It's not working. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
hear you.
Decent.
But if you put headphones in, it'll eliminate the echo.
Well, when I put the headphones in, I can't hear anything. That's the fucking problem right now. Weird fucking shit going on.
Let's try.
No, I can't hear anything.
You can't hear us?
You sound better all of a sudden, too.
Yeah.
I think you're coming through the... No, he can't hear us, so never mind.
I just want to create the podcast called Sound Check, and all it is just, hey, can you hear me? Can you? No? Okay. Yeah. Try this mic.
Just fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, you sound different. You're coming through a different mic. Anyway, so the reason that I told her to reach out to some of them was that it had been a long time, and I have a good relationship with them, but they might respond to her different from how they respond to me.
Oh, right. And
so then they could say, oh, I already know Chuck, blah, blah, blah. And then if they send me an email, then great, we'll work it out. And if not, then,
Are you sending the out? Do you always send
the
emails?
She's sending them as me, now that I think
about it.
I was going to say. It's going into the HubSpot sequence, so it'll be the same either way.
I was going to say, yeah. That makes sense. Are you adding Ray's show into Podwrench? Or it sounds like this first one was just kind of like negotiated on the fly and then...
Yeah, no, it's not gone into Podwrench. Eventually they will. because then I can automate the asset delivery and everything.
Right.
Right. And if anything changes, I can put it in and it can get notified to them, and then whoever they wind up having read the ad can, But for now, no. If I get too many of these, then I probably will just out of anger, because it'll take so much effort to run them all. But
if you haven't already done this too, you might have your assistant go back and compile a list of all the previous advertisers. So I
should do that.
Have her check. Yeah, because that way, you should have all those people in the CRM tool anyway, so that you can follow up with them periodically.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that would be a good first step, just to get the list, and then she doesn't have to run it by you every week.
That's true. I did compile a list of all the ones I could remember, but I know I've missed some over 8 years or so. But yeah, and next week my plan before I leave is to get her looking at. So I'm just going to give her a list of topics on iTunes, and then I'm just going to say, look, go find all of the shows that haven't produced. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you sound good.
I'm going to tell her to go find all of the shows that haven't produced an episode within the last year that are in the top 20 on iTunes.
Oh, yeah.
And go find their contact information and then reach out to them. And I'm going to put together another sequence in HubSpot for that. And just basically say, hey, look, I've talked to a lot of podcasts that have gone defunct. It's usually for one of these two reasons. And I can alleviate both of those reasons if you let me bring it into Dev Chat. Or if you want me to just do the production and help you find sponsors to cover it, then if you start it up again, then we'll help you make it that way.
Nice.
So, but yeah, so then her job will be to find five shows that I can reach out to that aren't producing anymore, and 10 new potential sponsors every week.
You're saying there are shows that are in top 20 that haven't produced in a year?
One of the ones that's perennial in the top 20 for Ruby hasn't produced since 2013. I'm not kidding. I reached out to him and I'm like, hey guys, what do I have to do to make this worth your while? It's run by a users group, right? So
yeah,
I'm like, I'd have to rebrand it because I'm not going to run the show out of San Diego. You're obviously, not doing a video feed anymore. So, can I turn this into kind of an online users group kind of thing? And then I'd either charge a membership for it or find sponsors for it. Probably sponsors, because that's easier for me.
Yep.
And I don't want to have to manage membership issues.
Yep.
But then it's free for everybody too, and I kind of like that. That appeals to me. So. But yeah, so then I would just find speakers every month, and we do an online users group kind of thing, and then yeah, so I'd be aiming for kind of conference quality talks, and yeah, I'd probably actually give the speaker a cut of the sponsorship for the month they come on.
Yeah, this is exactly what you need to be doing. Perfect. This is perfect. This is how you're going to grow and rapidly grow. If you keep this up, it's going to be insane. You're going to, a year from now, you'll be twice the size you are now. So,
yeah. Well, the other thing is that, so on the sponsorship end of things, I think I have 2 shows left that have any space on them at all, and they're the lowest end ones. So
nice.
I kind of need something else to sell, and then I'm also going to push my current sponsors to book out through the end of the quarter.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to say, look, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to start selling Q3. So,
yep.
Be ready with your budget, because, when it's gone, it's gone. And that way I can sell it. I can do the sales in cycles, and I think that would save me a lot of effort. And a lot of these companies that wind up doing their sales on a quarterly cycle anyway, so they either do an annual budget or a yearly budget or both. And so then I can just come to them and say, look, this is the cycle we're going to work off of. So yeah.
The other thing you might consider doing would be make all the sales contingent upon payment.
Oh,
Right?
they
So
are. They already are.
Well, okay, but if you're selling Q3 now, right? So you're selling. So you have somebody books a spot. Do they have to pay right away?
Yes.
Or okay, so there's no like invoicing, POs, nothing like that. You're just
no. I send them an invoice, but if they don't pay within a week or so, or
Okay.
email me and say, hey, there's a check in the mail or something, then I'll get back to them and say, look, I got to get paid now, or I'm going to start offering it to other people.
Perfect.
And if it's next week's sponsorship, it's like, look, you've got to pay me within the next couple of days, or it's it's fair game because I don't have time to sit around and wait.
Yep.
And I'm a little more diplomatic into how I say it to them, but that's the gist, right? And most people understand that it's not a
right.
So yeah. And I apologize to anyone who's watching the video and watching me eat these bagels while I'm talking to you guys.
That's what he does when he's talking to the sponsors. He's just crunching on a bagel.
It really gives you kind of a devil may care vibe.
Exactly.
Chuck. I mean,
yeah. It's like, do not give a fuck. Just pay me.
I eat sponsors like I eat this bagel.
Yeah. And then I also realized that I never followed up on the stuff from MicroConf last week. So I'm going to send a whole bunch of emails out, but I had 3 or 4 people there who were interested in having me help them get their shows started. So that may wind up turning into another revenue stream somehow. But the incremental cost to me is not a lot because, again, I just hand it off to my team. They write show notes. They do the editing. Michelle just makes sure it runs, So I'm just getting more people paid more, and that makes everybody happy. So
you should do the there's a the business model, the web design and hosting business model. You can do the same thing with podcasting. I mean, obviously the hosting part you'd use Libsyn or you do like a referral or affiliate to that. But what you can do is you can charge people to initially create their podcast, right? To do everything to get them set up, get their artwork and all this stuff, and basically done for you. You charge them that fee. And give them consulting on how to succeed at their podcast. And then you have them pay you a monthly fee to basically maintain the podcast, right? That's
funny. That's basically what I'm building Podwrench to do.
Yeah. Yep. So, because it's a good business model that's been working for a lot of people that do web hosting, right? What they do is they create the website. They find these small businesses that don't have a website or have a shitty website. They get the initial like couple grand to create a website for them, and then they get them to continue to pay them like $100-$200 a month to maintain the website, and they're just using hosting that costs them $10 a month. So yeah,
that's basically what I'm looking to do. So
yeah,
I would probably partner with Netlify, but most of the people using it would be using their free tier anyway.
Yep.
And then I would just I'd set things up, and then if they want to ever jettison, it's just like, okay, here's your website as it stands. Here's a manual on how to run it. I mean, I don't want to lock anybody in. I really hate companies that do that. So they can take their ball and leave, but most people won't.
Oops, I just deleted all your podcast episodes.
But yeah, so then they can export it for WordPress, or they can. They can take it as a static site, which is how I would run it for them. And then, it would just, but that's the plan, is so it would set it all up for them. And then, if at any point they say, you know what, I can't afford this, or I don't want to do this anymore, then they can just hit the button that disconnects everything and gives them a way out. But I would love to do that. And some of the companies at MicroConf, like, they don't want a show where it's like us, we find sponsors and that's how we support the show. What they want is we want to make content that's going to bring us customers.
Right. Yeah.
And I've been having this same conversation with Joe Eames from the Dev Ed podcast, because that's what he's doing. He's promoting Thinkster.io.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so how do I promote Thinkster on the show? I said, well, you record a little clip of yourself saying, this podcast is produced by Thinkster.io, and we make learning easy by doing A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I can do that. I said, and then in the middle of the show, you say, we're just going to take a break and talk about Thinkster here for a minute. This is what we do. This is what we're about. And these are the courses we have coming out over the next few weeks. Or these are the courses that came out over the last few weeks. I said, I mean, that's it. That's the whole thing.
That's it. Yeah.
I said, and then you take clips of the show and you make them into videos and you put them on social media. And then you're good to go. Because people will watch a 2-minute video, and if it says something that speaks to them, then they'll go check out your show. And then you've got them because then you get them on your mailing list and you promote Thinkster to them. He's like, oh, that makes sense. And that's what I pitched to people at MicroConf, and they're like, do you do all that? And I'm like, yep. I said, I'm finalizing the details on the social media stuff, so no promises there, but everything else I've already got figured out. Oh, well, we should totally just pay you to run our podcast for us. And I was like, yes, you should. But if all the people at MicroConf who were interested in that actually came and did it, I'd pick up 3 or 4 shows for production. And like the incremental cost to me is almost nil. In fact, I'd be making money on each of those shows.
Yeah.
And my editors would be happy to have more work. The show notes writers would be happy to have more work. Michelle would have to do a little bit more coordination as far as like making sure we have the files in time to get them out. But other than that, no big deal. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not as lucrative as finding sponsors for people, but it's steady money every month. If I bring in 3 shows, then I'm making an extra 1,000 or so a month that I can count on and in profit essentially, that I can put into Podwrench or something like that to make the rest of the ecosystem run better. So
yeah,
it's kind of a win-win. But yeah, that's kind of where my brain's been at lately too, and I'm just super excited to run with it. So yeah. But yeah, so you asked how things are going. That's how things are going.
Nice.
I'm actually going to San Francisco next week too, and I've reached out to a bunch of old sponsors, current sponsors, some people I actually met here at the Salt Lake conference, and a couple of people that don't work for the old sponsors anymore. They were the old marketing people, and I'm just like, hey, I'm coming into town. Let's just grab lunch. And I'm hoping to kind of reconnect with some people and make some connections with some of the other stuff. And yeah, just see what I can produce out of there, because it seems like about half of the people that I wind up talking to are either based out of the San Francisco area or the New York City area. And so I'm hoping at some point to figure out how to get out to New York City this year and just do the same kind of thing and see if I can turn around, some things there. I mean, whether it's me meeting with other podcasters or, meetup groups or something, but yeah, I think I can make both of those pay off for me pretty easily.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. So that's what I've been working on. The only other thing that I've got going is, so Joe, who runs the Dev Ed podcast, which we produce for him, he wants to start a show on Dungeons and Dragons. So you guys were saying you ought to go for the orthogonal, but really market. And so we're actually pulling that together. And so that should be interesting. I think we can cross promote that pretty heavily, because a lot of the people that I know play D&D are developers and vice versa.
Right. Yeah.
So.
But they don't really like to talk about it, right?
Who don't?
D&D people don't really like to talk about it much.
Last year at NGConf, and I think this year at NGConf, they brought in 10 people to be DMs for people who wanted to play D&D at the conference.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. No, this is the right direction for sure. Like, forget about the other stuff. Like, just keep going down this direction, and you're going to be,
I did spend 2 hours this week editing my book.
Boo.
As long as you're doing this shit, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want it done.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel bad spending a couple hours working on it if my primary focus is in the right place. So
yeah. Speaking of books, I finally got Manning approached me about the second edition of Soft Skills, and actually they went through what's his name?
Our agent.
Yeah.
David.
So Yeah, so that actually worked out well because I sent this really long list of demands. I was like, I want 25% royalties across the board. I want a Kindle version. I want like to be able to subtitle the book, a new cover, right? All kinds of stuff. Basically everything, that.
John, you're such a diva.
And they agreed to everything. So
wow.
yeah, including rights reversion in 5 years. So it looks like I'll be doing a second edition. It should be pretty easy to do a second edition. Just update. Well,
was it that successful a book for them to where they're willing to play ball with you, or
apparently?
Yeah, yeah. It's done like let me see what their last statement is. I think they've sold over $600,000 worth of the book. So they've made some pretty good money on it.
How much do you think they have made from
Oh
it?
yeah, over 600,000, huh?
How much do you think they have made from it?
Well, I mean, on average, it's like some of my royalty, like the audio royalty is like 15%, but you could say that on average my royalty is 10%. So they've made a good $530,000, right? Whatever they put into production costs might be like 30,000 at the most. So they made a good 500,000 profit. Yeah. So that's
is that profit, or they have like resource, like people costs and all those things involved as well with this?
There's nothing once you have the book in production.
But the initial part of it is work.
That's what I said. Is maybe 30 grand or so, if even.
That's just production, but also like people that are involved with the whole thing.
Yeah.
They paid somebody to edit it, and they paid somebody to promote it.
Yeah, it's not much. I mean, we know what the cost.
Didn't pay anyone to promote it.
No, they didn't pay anyone to promote it. That's for sure.
I don't know. They bug me about their authors.
But yeah. So I'll be doing that whenever I'm not sure what the schedule will be, but that should be good.
Yeah. Whenever Manny has a new programming book, I always get an email. Do you have space for so and so on one of your shows?
Oh yeah.
The last one though was, I think it was GraphQL, and they sent it literally the week after we released an episode on GraphQL. And so I was like, no, not really.
So yeah. Oh, so the also kind of interesting with Bulldog Mindset membership so far, except for a couple of credit card like issues, 100% renewal rate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how many people? Because if it's 4, maybe not. Wow.
No, 101.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so far 100% renewal rate, 0 churn. So I mean, eventually there'll be churn, of course, but that's pretty good for 1 month in.
Yeah.
When are you doing the next
opening for it?
Yeah.
Probably next week. I've got Marwan is working on. He's set up the campaign. I just have to review it. We're using Active Campaign is what we switched to. We'll be trying that out. So I'll let you guys know how that works out.
Every month, John decides that it's time to start with a new email marketing tool, just because life is not fun without messing around, without changing CRMs as often as you can.
Drip is sponsoring the conference here in Salt Lake.
Are they? Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, apparently their Salt Lake office is bigger than their Minnesota office now.
Oh, okay, because the lead pages, yeah.
Yeah, so they're a lot of their developers are here.
Yep. Nice. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. It looks like Active Campaign is really solid. So we'll see how it works. But it had a lot of like workflow options and really simple workflows to create. So that more so than ConvertKit or Drip had. So
Active Campaign was quite a bit ahead of Drip with the workflow stuff. Like they had the visual workflow builder at least a year or two before. They were probably behind Infusionsoft, but they had it way ahead of Drip. So
yeah,
kind of makes sense.
But yeah, so we'll open that up and probably just open 50 slots and see. I'm pretty sure we'll fill the 50 slots without a problem, and there'll still be extra demand. So the idea is like to open up enough slots so that there's more demand than the actual slots each time, and then keep creeping the price up until we basically hit a kind of capacity point where we know that the amount of people for the slots that is right about what we can fill based on how many new people come in through the subscribers, and then just keep it there, and then just work on increasing the growth from there. So
what's the price going to be this time?
It'll be $30 a month this time.
Okay, so from 19, it was at 19 to 29.
Exactly. Yep. So, and I imagine that it will end up being at 50 a month is where we'll end up. And then I did a Bluehost promotion inside there, like basically as one of the videos, as an affiliate deal for one of the homeworks, and got I think it was about 10 conversions, so about a 10% conversion rate, which each one of those is worth $115. So essentially, like, that's additional, like if you can count on that, that's increases the customer lifetime value on those subscriptions as well. So but yeah, I'm almost done with the real estate deal too. I went out to Kansas City last week and checked out the property. I've got like 3 properties that are under contract right now that I'm selling in Boise, and pretty soon I'll be moving it all into that one deal. But
so you're gonna have one. What are you gonna have then? One commercial property, like a
it's like it's a commercial property, like 2 commercial office space, like not office spaces, retail spaces, about $1.25 million, and then I'll be buying that one basically cash, and then I'll finance it later. But then I still have a bunch of other residential. I still got like 3 fourplexes and a couple of office spaces and a triplex. I think that'll be So I'm putting about a third of my real estate investment into this one building.
Okay.
Basically consolidating. It's going to be consolidating 6 properties into one. So.
And the idea is just to simplify things. Is that mainly?
That's part of the idea. So there's a couple of things I'm doing. Well, one is just to simplify. Another is to increase the overall cap rate, because some of the properties that I have in Boise are underperforming just because the market's so hot. So the value of the property is really high, but the rents that they get does not produce a good cap rate. Maybe like a 3 to 4% cap rate, where this new property is about 7.25%. So it'll be an improvement across the board, just by taking that money. That 1.25 million is doing, if it's doing 3 to 4%, that's not good compared to when it could be doing 7.25. So it'll improve that. And then also what I really want to do is be able to build up enough. I'm going to start building. Those were paid off, so I'm going to get a loan on this property for probably about $1 million after I close on it, and then take that $1 million and use it as a down payment on like a $4 million property, like a residential. So the idea is basically to leverage up to the point while still cash flowing that the depreciation is high enough that it offsets all my taxable income, and so that I end up paying like 0 federal taxes at some point. That'll require probably about $20 million worth of leverage real estate, but I'm going to kind of leapfrog to there, because as I was running the numbers, I was like, oh shoot, there's like, you don't need a huge amount to be able to offset your income. Like through depreciation, you can basically wipe out all of your income, like all the tax liability. So that's the long-term plan.
I wish I were rich and smart like John.
Pretty soon you're gonna be like the freaking
if things keep going the way that I think they can, if things keep going the way they're going, another couple years, I won't be smart as John, but I'll
But you'll be able to afford my real estate coaching. So
there we go.
You don't have to be.
I feel better now.
So we met with our Facebook team this week and officially pulled the plug on the interview stuff. And so we're going to attempt. So we're going to try. We're going to do a promotion for 10 Steps Learn Anything Quickly. Mm-hmm. So they're like basically, what's your most popular? What's been your most successful product? Let's give that a shot.
These guys are not giving up.
No, we're gonna give it a go here. We're gonna do it basically 30 days. Give it a 30-day trial because they.
Are you paying them more for this?
No.
Sort of. We're releasing the 1,500 that they're supposed to refund us if they can't produce a profitable funnel.
Mm-hmm.
So but we're not putting any more into it aside from our Facebook spend. So
what's the total you have spent now on these guys? Not the Facebook spend.
55.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
5,500. And how much on Facebook spend?
I actually don't know. It would probably be 4 to 5, maybe 1,000, somewhere in there.
And with the return on that of probably like what, $2,000 maybe?
No, more like 1 maybe. Because we got a bunch of refunds on.
Oh yeah.
When we were selling it at the higher price point, we were getting like a 40 or 50% refund rate. So
4K ad spend and 1K of earnings.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty bad.
I was gonna say I don't like
it's that. It's better than we've gotten before.
What do you mean?
I mean, there have been cases where we spent like $5,000 and got like $50 in return. So
in ad spend?
Yeah, it's very doable.
It is, but then I mean that's not savvy ad spending because ad spending should be scaled.
Well,
it's $1 at a time, or $10 at a time, or $100 at a time.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, except that you don't know what the ROI is going to be for a period of time, right?
Yeah.
So $20 a day over 2 months adds up, and like it wasn't like we were spending. I forget what my budget was, but it wasn't. It might have been like $100 a day, if that. And it was over a period of 2 months, and we were measuring trying to see what the long-term ROI would be, and it was pretty much 0. So that's the tricky bit. It's pretty common for a lot of people that do paid ads to break even and not see a profit until like 6 months out. So
that is true. That is very true.
But so it's hard
at least
to.
It has to be somewhat in the ballpark, right?
Yeah, well, that's why we killed it. So it's got to be in the ballpark for sure. So
like if you're consistently able to make 50-60% of the money back, then you maybe try it in the 6-month period to get your money back. But if it's not even there, which sounds like it's not.
Yeah, I mean you've got to be able to at least break even on the front end offer, otherwise you're gonna have a cash flow problem.
Is he saying
even
that
when you don't have inventory?
I don't think the front end offer break even is even realistic anymore with Facebook ads with the price point we're working with, like $49 and $99. Those are too small to break.
They've got a $12 product that they're producing profitable Facebook advertising. They just bumped it to $20. So it depends on the Facebook agency that we're working with.
Yeah, of course they do.
No, they do. It's legitimate. They've got it. Like
they legitimately helped you guys as well. Of course, it's legitimate.
There's no reason to make that that up
Yeah.
at this
Dude,
point.
seriously,
We're already paying them.
$12 is very hard to believe that you can convert.
I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree, but I believe them.
Yeah.
These guys have been pretty straight with us. I really don't think they're lying about their results. I think they're not going to be able to produce that for everybody, and I don't think they would. They actually, I mean, their sweet spot is actually people that do the high end coaching offers where it's like,
yeah,
that's what I keep saying. Like the high end stuff will work. It's the low end product that's really difficult to convert.
It is for sure. But,
so the $12 front end product, of course, can break even if the back end of the funnel is actually a $2,000 coaching program. Of course, then it's
they're not this particular case. I don't know why I'm bothering because you're not going to believe it, but they're making $2 and $3 sales.
Yeah,
on a $12 product. It is a mass market product.
What kind of product is it?
Fitness.
John,
it's like fitness videos, like workout videos, like a Taibo type of thing, I believe. So
yeah, I mean,
like P90X, like
So they've been pretty straight. I mean, I've asked them some questions. Like in the first interview, I asked them like about some questions about failures that they'd had, and they were pretty forthcoming about it. And so I don't know. I believe these guys.
I mean, they're operating at an extreme loss at this point. Like the fact that they're like, there's no way that they're making money off of us at this point, right? So like it just doesn't make any sense to make up some bullshit. The only way that they actually end up profitable in this deal is if we end up having a profitable funnel.
Right.
So,
or maybe they are profitable all along, and you guys have just
no.
It's
not, I mean, they've been working on this.
Not even possible.
They've been working on this since January, and so
it's. I mean, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here.
Manny the cynic.
Playing the devil's advocate here.
I mean, I have seen like the results of I've seen what they've done. I mean, I've seen the leads, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not like, it's not like they're just driving traffic to a sales page or something. Like they're generating leads. The leads are engaging. They're in the US like we wanted them to be. They're engaging. They're opening emails. They're excited. When the cost per lead is very reasonable, it's just that the last mile is not happening. So that's why it's worth. Like if we were seeing results similar to what I'd seen with my experiments, I would have pulled the plug in January. The only reason that we're still playing the game is that basically everything leading up to the sale looks pretty good. It's just not.
We even got some interview cake conversions out of a few of the leads. So
yeah.
It's just a matter of having the right offer. That's the thing. So
yep.
Oh, by the way, I screwed up the interview.
How much was the conversion on that at the last point?
What the conversion on
the interview offer, end of it all,
of the last time we did it?
Yeah, at the end, like the best you had.
Oh, you mean the first time we ran that offer?
The best you got.
Yeah, it was the first time we ran it. We did about 400 sales out of, I'm going to have to guess and say 50,000.
No. I'm talking about the ads. Like, what was the best conversion you ever got on that?
Oh, it wasn't even measurable. I mean, as a percentage? Like for sales?
Like, what were the best numbers you got?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really not tracking here. Okay. So the best that we did was, in terms of ROI, it was, we were paying, let me look. I can tell you. Give me a second. Keep talking.
Keep talking. Don't put him
on Manny, you got him on a slow day.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I was really not quite getting what.
I'm a bad person. I'm sorry. I should be nicer to Josh.
Try it again.
I called and whined at him about newsletters, and he helped me, and now I'm being mean to him.
All right. So okay, let's look at here. So the last report that we got, I'd need to total all this up, but we did we ended up with one.
Like, what was the cost per acquisition, and some CTR rates or whatever? Like, what numbers were? What finally made you guys think like, shit, this is just not working because this cost per acquisition for a customer is $200 while we're selling the product for $40? Or
okay, so
so
the week of March 18th, we did 60 leads. The cost per lead was actually spiked up to, no, that's not a good one. Never mind. So the week of 3/11, we did 125 leads, $3.25 per lead.
Yeah.
95 views on the landing page, 16 checkouts initiated, 4 purchases. Purchase conversion value $196, cost $405.
So that was
it was basically 50%. No, it was like 50%.
Why? $195 4 people bought. That's $800.
No. That's like $49. We dropped the price. That was it was an experiment to see if that would change things at all.
You're basically making $100 on an ad spend of $400.
Making $196 on an ad spend of $400.
Yeah.
And then but that was before, and that's before refunds too. So I don't know. I haven't checked the refunds on this week, but we were,
what's your current refund rate? Is like what, 25%?
It was. Yeah, it was pretty high. It was like 25 or somewhere between 25 and 40%.
So let's just say 25. That means $150 earned on $400 ad spend.
Yeah, so like a 30% of ad spend. So if you did, if you did like if you got all the upsells in place, that might get to 50%. That's still pretty far.
Yeah.
Though I don't think you're gonna flip that to profitable with upsells.
No, if you're somewhere near like 75%, then you've got a chance, and you can tweak it. You can, but
I mean, with upsells and bumps, you can literally double the cart value. That's for sure. We've done that, right? Multiple times. So with the right bump, with the right upsell, in session upsell, you can double the cart value. So a $49 offer can actually become a $100 cart, at which point you guys are pretty close to break even.
You're not going to double the average cart value, though. You're going to
average cart value.
No, you maybe like increase it by 50%. You're not going to double the average cart value.
Dude, check the numbers on some of the deals we've done.
In order to double the average cart value, that means that you have to have 100% upsell uptake rate.
No.
100%.
No.
Yes, double. Dude. Unless you have a higher end offer, unless it's like you're like going from $50 to $100.
Exactly, and multiple offers.
Even at that point, then you need 50% uptake on the upsell.
Multiple offers. Remember, there's multiple things going on. There's a bump.
Yeah.
The bump could have, let's say, an uptake of 25%, and then upsell, which is higher price point, even if it has an uptake of 10-20%, and you have multiple upsells in session. Now you're talking possible conversions because you've basically doubled your cart value. Doubling cart value is not that hard, especially with the right upsell sequencing and right upsell offer and good upsell page and copy and all those things. I'm saying that's because we have done it. It's not, and I feel like I've done it with very shitty ThriveCart, sales pages, like upsell pages. I should have actually had them embedded on our website. Like with that, we would probably even have better upsell potential, because the upsell pages on ThriveCart are not really very well done, right? So with that, it would have been, it's definitely more than doubled it if it was well done at that point. So Not only that, but then you also have the potential of later on selling something because these are now your customers. Customers are the best customers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true for sure. But
So, can I ask a question? And this is something that just kind of occurred to me: is that it seems like we talk about a promotion that you guys are running every week, and we talk about why it's not working every week. And no, I'm being serious. I mean, yeah, you kind of see where I'm going, right? But do you have things that are working for you, or are we just not hearing about those? Or I mean, what's the story overall?
somehow we're magically making money. I mean,
what's working is the book.
Yeah.
And the sponsorships.
Yeah.
And the
what
affiliate
kind of sponsorship?
offers. What's that?
What kind of
the
sponsorship?
newsletter sponsorships. So
yeah, I tried pricing out the newsletter I was trying to sell sponsorship on based on Cooper Press rates. Yeah, I didn't find a taker. So
you got to get people that are looking for newsletters. That's why I was thinking it was separate buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they snapped up the podcast fast and then said we have zero interest in the newsletter whatsoever.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically those are basically the biggest. Those are basically the big sources of revenue.
Okay.
And we do have a few. I mean, we have a few $1,000s still coming in product revenue, but it's like it went from about 20,000 down to I think we're around 5 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it'll probably pop back up to about 6 to 7 now that our primary offer is the 10 steps opt-in. So, but and then we've got some affiliate revenue that comes in, right? Bluehost is probably like a couple grand a month, and there's little Thrive themes, and
I was just worried you guys. We talked so much about the other stuff. I was like, I hope they're not losing their shirts on all this stuff. So
somehow magically
we basically have stayed level.
Yeah,
it's just the stuff that has growth potential. Like I've spent a lot of time on. We've tried a lot of different things on the things that have been steady. We've tried a lot of different things to increase them, and none of it's really worked. Like we tried switching the main opt-in to the whole website to the blogging course, because we were doing pretty well with Bluehost affiliate stuff, and it was selling better than some of our products. So we're like, well, let's just pump all the traffic through there. Well, it didn't increase the Bluehost conversions at all. I don't know how that's possible, but yeah, it was basically the people that want Bluehost are finding it somehow without that.
Okay.
So we've tried a lot of things to try to boost the things that are working. And it seems like we're like at a point where we've skimmed the cream off the top on a lot of these things. And, maybe if we put all of our focus into it, we could increase it by 10 or 20% here and there, but there's always an opportunity cost of like something else seems to go down when you do that. So that's why the Facebook is a growth channel. It's like something, if we can get it working, like that's like something where we can the field's wide open in front of us.
Okay.
We're not stealing from one area.
So again, I think what you guys are saying, which is like just trying to convert on the front end, and then that calling that a win or a loss, I think that's a fool's errand in some ways. Like you're just going after a very short-term target and hoping that is the way to scale. But most of the people who are doing it is not like just the front end.
Right. No, I agree. I agree actually. And that's not what we're doing. Like there was no life to that other offer.
This one it makes sense that there was no life to that offer. Right. But I'm just saying, like, assuming that just the front end should convert every time without the back end and the upsell and the funnel and all of those things.
No.
Good.
If we can get
if you can acquire customers at break even, you're winning more or less in business. Like that is like ideal, because at some point those customers will become more customers.
Yeah, but you have to be able to actually know that you could get to the point of acquiring them at break even, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And that will not happen with the front end offer, is what I'm.
No,
that's my contention.
No, you can acquire customers at break even with a front end offer for sure.
There we go.
That can be done. Now above that might be difficult to do, but acquiring them at break even for sure is possible. But the thing is, you have to be close enough to do it, right? So I mean, consider that, like, let's say that you're at 75% ROI, right? At that point, you can think, okay, well, if I tweak the ads a little bit, if I reduce the cost per the lead, if I can, increase the conversion rate a little bit on the sales page, right? If I can like tweak these, things, then maybe I can get to 100% ROI on that, right? It's where I'm breaking even.
Yeah.
But,
from what you guys are saying already, it feels like it, because you had 4 conversions for $400.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing I didn't mention that I forgot to mention in that is I was going through, as each sale came through, I was going back and plugging them into Drip and looking at the history. And half of them were like people that had a lead score of like 400 in Drip, right? Like they're just people that happen to get pulled into our targeting pool on Facebook, but they're like diehard fans that have been with us for 4 years.
Right. So you just got in front of them again in a different way, and they responded.
The timing was right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
So there were almost no sales
I thought they had excluded that.
No,
you can't. There's no way to do it, man. There's no. It's so leaky. Like, you can do it to some extent, but you can't. Like,
you can block that entire list out if you want.
Yeah,
to,
but
it's no good.
There's a matching percentage, and like at least a third of them won't be included. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like the people slip through the cracks. It's really.
So I kind of want to move up though to like the 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 foot view for a minute, because it sounds like you're trying to acquire new customers and grow that way. And what you're saying is that this isn't necessarily working the way that you want, or you're not sure you can, make these lead acquisitions profitable by bringing them in. But where are you actually trying to get to? I mean, are you trying to find that thing that gives you lift to the next level of profitability? Because you're talking about, we're kind of at the same place that we've been for a while. Or are you trying to, grow in other ways? Are you trying to increase traffic? I mean, what's the outcome that you're really trying to get to? And then how does what you're doing now actually get you there? Or are you just kind of throwing darts at the wall and saying, well, something here is going to work somehow, somewhere? Because it kind of feels like the latter to me a little bit, where it's, hey, we're doing Facebook now, without actually knowing what the outcome is that you want, other than more money.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think there's a couple of things with the Facebook. One of them is really just to stay afloat, like to make sure that, because the thing is with our revenue streams that the ones that have dried up have been replaced by other ones. So that's kept us steady, but that's kind of a danger zone, because if you don't have something that ends up replacing it, then you're in trouble. So fortunately we've had those replacements. So I think one aspect of it is just, can we generate another income source that can reliably, bring the level up slightly to keep us sustained, right? So part of that, I think that's part of it. I think the second part of it with Facebook.
But hang on. Mm-hmm. So the question I have there is, do you have specific metrics you're looking at that give you that idea that, hey, we're heading into the danger zone? Or is it more of you look at all the numbers and your gut kind of tells you, this isn't where we want to be? How regimented are you in actually saying, okay, this means that and this means that?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've got pretty extensive books, so we know exactly where our revenue is coming from and the percentages of it. So I mean, we've seen a dip in product revenue for sure. Book revenue is up, but that's again something you can't totally rely on. Who knows how long the lifespan of a book is, right? Luckily, we've had some good success with sponsorship revenue, but again, not a super reliable source, and a lot of that's concentrated to a single sponsor. So that's, you know, those are all kind of like, you know, danger periods. And then the gap that we make up pretty much every month usually comes from some kind of affiliate promotion, and right, which is kind of a treadmill type of activity. So if we have, you know, a sort of reliable source that we can stabilize with our existing products, then, you know, the ultimate goal is there's two things. One of them is that to get paid advertising working, and part of this is just the investment in going through this process and feeling the pain of it, right, and seeing how this works, right? Because you're not really just going to get paid advertising working just by flipping a switch. You're going to have to put a few months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year worth of effort in just understanding, you know, the dynamics of that, you know, of that system, whether you have, you know, the product that you're ultimately going to sell or not. So then, you know, the bigger overarching strategy though is to move towards a single core product, right, that we talked about before, probably the developer career guide course, and then to, you know, then all of the efforts can be focused on that. But you know, we have to survive.
No, that's fair.
In that time frame.
And to my mind too, like the single product is not even worth doing if we can't get paid advertising to work. Because
I think that doesn't
because we're not able. I mean, we're not having success with the products with the organic.
So this is
strategy that we have. So
this goes back to the conversation.
You get into the meat that I wanted you to get to, which is okay. So what you're doing now, how does that tie to your ultimate goal? And you know, and I can kind of see where you're coming from there. So anyway, go ahead, Manny.
No, yeah, this kind of ties back to remember the conversation at Pat Flynn meeting, John? The question then becomes, does this work or will you make it work? And there's very big gap there between does this work versus will you make it work? Because if anyone is saying that does paid advertising work? Well, fuck. Hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars of businesses exist today because of paid advertising. So that's not even a question that we're trying to answer. The question that we're trying to answer is, do you guys want to make it work? Because if you decide to make it work, then you will be much more dedicated to trying to make it work rather than saying, well, let's see if it works. Because paid advertising, and for all that we say, oh, it's so hard, blah, 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 but I mean, freaking every business exists out there more or less on the back of paid advertising. Content marketing is almost like a new thing, the way we see it and the way we're doing it, right? So is paid advertising not working as you guys are saying, or it's just that you guys are not really prioritizing it enough to make it work? Because from what you guys are telling me, even with the interview offer, if you guys really spent 3 months yourself in it, not just like improving the offer, making it better, like making the sales page better, making the landing page better, making the upsells better, making the bumps better, making the, you know, following up with those guys and giving them a high-end coaching offer and all of those things, I bet that shit would work. So the delta there is not so much whether advertising works. It's more like the product that you're trying to sell, your heart is not into it. So you guys are like, just okay, well, we'll test it and see if it works.
I want to throw something in on this too, you know. So yeah, if let's say that your backs were against the wall, they're not right now, right? You're bringing in enough money to keep the lights on and pay all the bills. If your back was up against the wall and you absolutely had no choice but to make this work, what would you be doing differently?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny when we're you know, filling out like $170,000, $180,000 per person per year, and we're like, we're in trouble. But that's not like, the profit you're making is not the indicator of the business success. It's the growth factor is the important thing. If you're not growing, you're in trouble, right? Because it can quickly flip. Even if you're pulling out a lot of profit, you can quickly flip that. But but yeah, I mean, what Manny says is correct. We can make it work, but to some degree, also, I think the big thing is that, like, with the interview product, like, the offer is the most important part of the product of marketing, right? And if your offer is shit, if the offer is not good, and you've tested the offer and people do not respond to that offer, it makes sense to have a better. It doesn't make sense to invest a huge amount into that shitty offer. So we know that the 10 steps to learn anything quickly, like, we didn't initially use that as our offer, even though we know that's our best offer, because we wanted to basically do this without me in the equation as much as possible. But, you know, at this point we're like, okay, well, you know what, let's you're right. Let's pretend like our backs are in the corner. We have to make paid advertising work. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to do our best converting offer that we know is a good offer that we can. So with the 10 steps to learn anything quickly, yeah, we should be able to make that work. We can make it work, if we're willing to put in the effort to do so. So I mean, you're right in saying that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if my back was against the wall, this is what I would do, basically.
Right. I guess the other question is, though, because if my back was against the wall, I'd be doing everything I could to push that boulder uphill.
Mm.
But are there other things that you could be considering and putting effort into as well, once you've expended all the effort that makes sense to put into pushing this particular boulder up the hill? Is there some other audience you could go after? Is there some other, some other boulder that, okay, this one's stable, or me pushing on it isn't going to get it any further up, but that other one, I think I can make some headway with it, because for me, I mean, I'd be in it and I'd be like, hey, I'm all in on this, but now the incremental benefit of pushing this one isn't there anymore. So I'm going to go push on that other one and see if I can get it to tip over the top and go down the other way.
Yeah.
Other growth strategy that.
Yeah. So I get where you're coming from as far as, this is the one that maybe makes the most sense, that could pay off in the biggest way, has the most potential. But, it also sounds like you kind of, push this team and make sure they have everything they have and do a couple of other things for them. And, and then you go and you kind of stabilize everything else so it doesn't crumble, right? So you're doing all the affiliate marketing and things like that. But yeah, so that extra effort that you could put in, where do you put it?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is again, and this is why we're moving towards that direction, is that, and this is the sprawl sprawl is what's happened here, right? It's like we have a ton of revenue streams and sources, a lot of products, right? It's all kind of spread out, and so it's hard to be singular focused, and that's why the overarching goal is to simplify, get down to one core product offering, right? One core message, right? And so that we don't have this fracturing that's happening. And that's why, I'm convinced that the reason why our list is essentially dead, why we're not having very many buyers, is because our message is fractured, right? And I know that it's not just that people don't buy. I mean, with the, again, I mean, some of it is, but people are buyers definitely on my other list, on the Bulldog list, like a very, very large degree. And these are a lot of new people that are just coming in. This is just YouTube source is the main thing. So it's not a question of buyers, but that message is very unified and is very very clear and targeted. Whereas right now with Simple Programmer, we started off with, our message just started to, kind of fragment over time. And so, if we go down to get our main core offering, our main product, and our message is clear and focused, we'll be able to, sell that one thing. I mean, a good example is just, Parker with Interview Cake, right? Okay, so I think he's doing around $1 million a year revenue. He's right around that mark, if not, at that. And he does not have the reach that we do. He doesn't have the traffic that we do. He doesn't have the, the resources and all those pieces. But what he does have is a very, very clear offering and a clear message, and everything is related to that one offering. So, the signal to noise ratio in his marketing efforts is is very high. He has a very high and strong signal, and so that's just where we got. I think ultimately we have to get back to. Now, the good thing about that is that we know how to make money from a lot of different revenue, sources, right? We know how to do it through books. We know how to do it through, through affiliate, through all these channels. Once we get paid advertising on there as well, and we have this kind of unified message, I think we'll be able to quickly make some leaps. But I feel like with the sprawl that we have, it's just too hard. It's like splitting a laser beam in multiple directions. You need so much power, in order to once you've split that beam, to make that beam strong, because it's going so many directions that it's a futile effort. So
yeah, it goes back to the single unified offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are you doing then to unify your messaging with everything else? I mean, we're talking about this, this particular marketing effort, but yeah, what are you doing then to unify the effort on your website, your newsletter, and everything else?
Well, the big thing is creating the new product, right? The new offering, and then
Is there power
everything
over here somewhere? Sorry.
I think then everything can kind of be, then it's a matter of taking that and then going to each one of those channels and saying, okay, let's make all the messaging target this product, but it's got to be built around that product and that offering, so that we know, what message that we're indicating, right? And also, I think we'll have some testing of the message as well to see which thing resonates the most.
Agree. I think that's what you guys said. It's going to take another 3 months to do, right?
Oh,
yeah,
probably a lot longer than that. But
well, to build the product out, I think, and launch the product. So,
but you don't need to build it out to launch it.
Yeah, you do. It doesn't work the other way. Like it's a very bad idea to try and launch before you build.
Are we going to have a whole discussion about lean startup framework now?
It's no good. It's vaporware. People don't. You're handicapping yourself from the start when you do something like that. We've seen it multiple times in our in experiments that we've done as well. So,
yeah, okay. But you guys are still planning to do you're still planning to do a pre-launch of some sort to try to figure out if people are going to buy this.
I don't think so. I mean, my mind is set that we just go for it and we make it work. There's no point in gathering information that you're not going to use. That's the problem with analytics. Like, you're not going to shift the direction, right? You still have to create the product. You still have to launch the product, right? Unless you're making a choice between like multiple directions to go. I mean, if this is direction, then you just have to go that direction to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, there is still that question of, or maybe it's not, because you guys feel that the book is the answer there. Like, because you're selling the book, that you'll keep on making it work.
Yeah, I mean, we know that definitely. I mean, the book is the most profitable thing that we have, right? With so, and we know that people buy it; they want that content. So,
yeah.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah,
well,
I think
it's also good to hear that you're watching your numbers, and so if something changes, that you're on top of it too.
Yeah, I think the answer is we just got to dig in. Right now, I'm trying to finish up this real estate deal, so I can put my focus 100% on building out this new product. But that's I think that's the best course of action. And once we do that, then I think everything becomes a lot more clear.
Nice. It's not going to be a membership site. It's a $2,000 product. That's what you guys it's going to be.
Well, I mean, we don't have the entire details, but we talked about doing like the tiered. I think the tiered product for based off of the book makes sense, and then a continuity program afterwards. But
yeah, well, I kind of like the continuity program where you're saying, look, here's how you get into programming, here's how you go from junior to senior, and then here's how you make a top-notch, awesome, amazing career, however that looks, kind of thing. So you can kind of stack it up.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to totally derail us, but I wanted to make sure that you were focusing on the right thing, because sometimes I get too close to things and start focusing on my book instead of starting new podcasts and stuff like that. And I'm sure you do the same thing sometimes. So
yeah, no, it's a good wake up call. I mean,
I think focus is the biggest challenge.
Oh. Yeah.
For entrepreneurship.
Well, the thing is, at least for me with the focus, is that like it's really easy for me to focus on something for 3 months or so, and then I get bored.
Yeah,
3 months.
Called out on that.
We were talking yesterday or day before to this guy at a meetup group who was talking about how he's a freaking computer science grad, so a smart guy, but like every day basically he comes up with a new thing to do. So all he's doing now is doing DoorDash deliveries, because one day he is a video game developer, one day he is writing software, one day he's writing, a course, or like every day it's a new freaking thing.
Yeah.
And I come up with a new thing to do every day, but then I file it away, and then I come back to that periodically and say, is there anything in here that's going to get me closer to where I want to be? But I guess it's a different thing if you change tactics every day, if you're switching directions on yourself.
If you create a whole new business every day.
Yeah. Oh, well, yesterday I was doing a video game, and and I feel awesome about that, but today I'm going to go build a new site.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I think building a new marketing channel is actually like building a whole new business. Because it takes that much amount of effort to make the marketing channel work. Marketing channels don't work just because they exist.
Yeah, but I get away with that, for example, with the podcasts, because the marketing channel operates in the same way and works with the same kind of people, even though it's a different group of people that I'm marketing to. Does that make sense? But if you're out there reaching a completely different type of customer, then yeah, you have to kind of reinvent it.
No, even if it's the same customer, trying to sell them on Facebook is very different from trying to sell them through content marketing compared to
that's fair.
Trying to sell them, on phone, a high ticket offer and all of those things.
No, you're correct there.
Everything has its learning curve and growth curve and opportunity cost of not doing the other things properly. So it's like each of those channels has a long learning curve.
Yeah, I misunderstood what you meant by marketing channel.
Yeah, every marketing channel has a long learning curve. So if we forgo that understanding, then we just think that, oh, I could just start this new marketing channel and make it work. But fuck, man, like selling or marketing, like selling in a new way or marketing in a new way is just like a whole lot of work, and it just takes so much to figure that shit out, right? Some people can sell on email. Some people freaking don't even know how to sell on email. They just want to do webinars. And like even to that level of detail, you find people who are really good at something and not good at something, and they're not really able to scale the other thing. Or though you would argue that being able to sell on webinars, like some people can sell on webinars, some people can sell on phone calls.
Yeah.
While some people just want to, sell via email marketing. Like I think you guys are a prime example of email marketing. While there are some people who will do live webinars, like Pat Flynn, and he just sells on webinars. Or what's his name, John Lee Dumas, he used to sell just on webinars from paid traffic to webinar, and that was his sales mechanism, and he just mastered that. So that's probably my thought for the day, that don't start too many marketing channels, because it's very dangerous, because it comes with opportunity cost, the lost opportunity cost of the other thing that actually could be taken exponential in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
The lure of marketing, or the lure of all of these new ideas, is that something works faster than what you're working with, right? Something works better than what you're working with.
Or the other lure of it is then you don't have to actually go do the real work to build whatever it is you want to need to build in order to.
The grind will be easier.
Right? And you can't. Well, if I built up all this marketing and I never actually built the product, then did I really fail? Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why people go procrastinate on marketing instead of actually.
Not just procrastinate, but they keep doing different. We all do that. We keep doing multiple methods of marketing. And we think that we don't have to grind out one or the other, and one or the other will work itself. But fuck, man, everything is a grind. Selling on phone is a grind, right? Yep. Selling on phone is a grind. Email, like creating video sales letters is a grind, and creating webinars is a grind, and Facebook ads is a grind. Like everything is a fucking grind. You just have to pick the grind and just go after it.
Well, but that's the whole thing, right? Is that if you can either do the work and have a chance of winning, or not do the work and have no chance of winning.
Yeah, I think this partly goes back to a conversation John and I had in the gym maybe 3-4 months ago. John, you were saying, hey, you can just hire a Facebook ads guy, and you can hire a product guy, and you can actually make a business work. And I still don't think that is real. I think there's so much that goes, the grind of all of that coming together is so hard that just because you have a smart Facebook ads guy and smart product guy doesn't mean that you will have actually a winning business. Because there's a lot to be figured out. I mean, shit.
I don't know. I think you can pay your way around some of the grind.
You can pay your way around some of the grind, as in, hire a Facebook ads guy, but that doesn't mean that you still don't have to work it to make it work. Like, I think I keep going back to the same philosophy of like, you have to make it work rather than it will work. Or rather than the assumption that somehow something works. There's very different philosophies there, right? The philosophy that I have to make this shit work compared to something works. I just need to find that something that works.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And as soon as you adopt, like as soon as we agree or not agree, as soon as in any business or in any marketing channel or in any new sales channel or anything, we say, okay, well, I've got to make this shit work. That's it's like a level of self-responsibility or level of responsibility that comes with like, I'm going to make this shit work, not whether this thing will work. And then
I think that's the whole point, even when you hire the Facebook guy. And I think that's what you're coming back to, right? Is you can hire the Facebook guy, but you can't pass all the responsibility of this actually working off to him, because that doesn't work, right?
That grind is
still you. Yes.
That grind is still yours. You still have to grind out making the sales page better, making the sales copy better, making the product better, making the offer better, making the upsells better, adding more upsells, the maybe trying to figure out how you sell more to, like, all of that shit has to be done to make this work. Hiring a Facebook ad guy is not the solution to making it work. It's a step in that direction.
Yeah, it's not.
It will make your work easier, but it will not nullify your work and be like, okay, well, we'll just let him do the job while we do other things. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Like, whatever that channel is, initially there is a lot of grind to make it work. Once you get it to work, now once you get it to work, now you can just get the Facebook guys to say, hey, just bring me leads for like $5 and we're good, because everything else we know, we've done it. We've made this shit work. We know the pipeline. We know the whole fucking funnel from end to end. We've tested this shit out. Just bring us leads, or just like, no, this is the system. Just keep doing this shit now. Just throw money at it and we'll keep doing it. That is a different game. That's like what you did, John, with the plural site. You just fucking made like you realized that if I make these courses, I'll make pretty good money on this. So you kept on making courses, and you kept on making courses, and you kept on making courses. You kept on doing the same thing again and again. And I think one day in the gym, you told me, the fastest growth spurt happens when you just know that one thing that you need to do and you keep on doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's the secret to business.
Yeah.
Is figure out something that works and then just keep on doing it,
grinding it out. Yeah.
That's
what like.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is you figure out that thing, and a lot of people get to that point, and then they're like, "Oh, I figured out the one thing," and no. And then you have to go gut it out day after day after day.
Yeah, you have to keep doing a whole lot of it when you think that there's time to do something else. It's actually time to double, triple, quadruple down on the same damn thing. And that's like, I am speaking this because I'm actually trying to learn this myself every single day, because it's a fucking grind every single day to stay focused on the few things that matter and not delude myself into thinking that I should do another thing and like, oh, this new opportunity sounds good, and this new opportunity sounds like it should be an easy play, and I keep like, oh, maybe I should do that. It's so easy to do that to myself, but it's so hard to say, fuck, man, just keep grinding out the book summaries, because that's the thing that makes the money every fucking day. Like, it's almost like a guaranteed money maker, but there's this seduction of like, hey, let's do something new. That's what Pat Flynn was saying as well, right? In the meetup, he's like, ultimately in my coaching, it comes down to when I'm talking to all these people and they're like, oh, I could grow the business this way, I could grow the business that way. Right. And he's like, well, you just need to do more of whatever the fuck you're doing, and that grows the business the fastest in the long term.
Yeah, of what you're doing, that was working.
That was working. Yeah. Whatever is working, just fucking double, triple, quadruple down on that and just making it work again. Finding that thing is, I guess, the challenge sometimes.
You're actually making me feel better because, with all the crazy travel and going to the conferences and all the extra stuff that I've been doing to try and promote podcasts among programmers, and then my podcast in particular, I've been spending a ton of time on a handful of things that we've already talked about. But yeah, I found that one thing, and I'm just doing the work now and doing it over and over again. And yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's what's going to create the growth that I want.
Yep. All right. Should we do thoughts for the day?
Sure. So I'll start. The magic over the last probably month for me has been people, right? That's kind of the magic formula. And so, Podfest, I talked to and met a ton of people. MicroConf, I talked to and I met a ton of people. I got a ton of feedback on the things that I'm working on, the things that I've been thinking about. I got a lot of clarity on the things that I'm doing. And a lot of that came out of the conversations. A lot of that came out of the relationships that I already had. A lot of it's come out of relationships that I just made at these events. But the magic isn't the travel. It's not going and sitting in the sessions. It's not, going out and pounding the pavement in particular ways. It's just meeting people and just finding those people that have that level of synergy on the things that you care about. And then talking to people and making sure that, you're getting clarity on who they are and what they need. And, the rest of it all kind of works itself out. And, it's like, oh yeah, I could do this better, or I could do that better. And, and that's kind of been the magic for me. So, it's made me go back, and I'm reworking the way that the hosts do the shows. So we're going to have them start recording their own audio again. We're going to try that again. I'm changing the way that I'm planning episodes so that instead of just going out and seeing what's in the newsletter and picking the things that look interesting, we're actually picking the topics and going and finding guests for them. And so a lot of these things have come out of over the last month, just going and talking to a ton of people about what we're doing and then getting clarity on what we're offering, and so the offering on editing podcasts and finding sponsors and all these other things have come out of just talking to people and really getting a good feel for, hey, that's a problem, and that's a problem I could solve easily. And, so then you're happy with, getting, something there for very little effort. and I'm happy getting something there for, you know, the effort I put in because I already have the relationships. And so it's that kind of stuff that's paying off. And so, you know, this next trip to San Francisco is going to be different kind of travel than I've ever done, because I'm going out and I'm putting myself in a position to run into people where I'm not actually going to an event. And so I'm reaching out to people ahead of time and saying, hey, I'm coming out, can we meet? And, you know, it's again, I'm just creating those situations with people. And if you can go and understand people and understand the people who have a need that you can fill, that changes the whole equation for everything. And if I found that I've done a lot of things that it turned out nobody really wanted, and if I had gone and actually talked to people, I would have figured that out sooner. So, you know, this is nice, because it's kind of the reverse, where people are telling me what they want, and then I'm actually able to help them, and they're happy to have me help them, even if it costs them a little bit.
I think I already said my piece, but I'll say it again. Nothing works and everything works. The only question is, what do you want to make work? You have to make it work. Is a much bigger, what do you want to make work? And rather than asking what works, you have to ask, what will I make work, or what will I push enough to make it work? Because those are very different questions. I actually did a video on this a while ago, which all of you guys should be watching or listening to on the podcast, on the 2000 Books podcast. No, seriously, it's the
guilt trip.
It's the video called the fake persistence versus real persistence, in which we trap ourselves in as entrepreneurs because we try a lot of different things, and that is it's an idea of persistence in some ways. But what is much more hardcore is just sticking with that one thing and making that work, rather than trying to see what works. So I will make it work rather than will it work is the message that I'm thinking about right now.
Right. You are the engine.
Yeah.
You're also the driver. So you keep changing the direction you're going, and you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah. But once you know the direction, you still have to make the thing go.
Yeah, it's the flywheel concept from good to great, right? Just pushing the one thing and one thing and one thing, rather than making the assumption that some other flywheel will go faster. Every flywheel will take its own time and its own effort and energy.
Yeah,
you just have to make the.
I'll piggyback off of that one and say, stop trying to avoid the grind, right? That's like so many of the people, especially even like when we're talking about at that. The group, you know, the meetup group, the entrepreneur group, like that was the biggest problem. Is it's like people are just trying to avoid the grind, right? They don't want to do they want to find the shortcut or the easier way, and it's like, well, you know, whatever you've got that is working at all, you just have to keep on doing that. And like you said with the flywheel, what ends up happening is that it ends up getting its own momentum, and but you have to spend a lot of time in that grind in order to get there. You're not gonna switch and then all of a sudden find something that is magically better. Whatever you're doing, you got to grind it out first.
Yeah.
Well, I think that a lot of that comes from the way we talk about entrepreneurship, where people get this idea that Mark Zuckerberg invented Facebook, and now he's a billionaire, and nobody talks about all of the work and heartache and everything else that he probably went through getting there.
Right, exactly.
Right, and he got investment that made it easier for him to do, but still,
Zuckerberg actually did the hard work. Dude, I had this freaking funny, now that I just have to hijack this conversation. This prospective coaching client, he's like, I'm launching this podcast and I'm going to make a business out of it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, tell me more about it. Tells me this is, I'm like, okay, well, you need a marketing strategy to grow the podcast and to create a business. He's like, I don't really need a marketing strategy. I just need to put it on Instagram, and then, it'll just take off and someone will pick it up. And I'm like, okay, so that's how you're going to market it? He's like, yeah, I mean, shit, why do I need you to tell me how to market? All they do is like, someone just, I'll just hire this 21-year-old college girl to do some, they know more about social media than you and I do. So just post about this, this show on Instagram, and that's how Facebook took off. Like it wasn't like as if Facebook was like a methodical process. They just like got lucky and then they took off. I'm like, oh my god, someone fucking either kill me or kill this guy, because this is a conversation from hell. I'm not gonna teach him about the A, B, C of business rather than even talking about M and O P of business. But people have that notion that somehow things just take off. All you need to do is like do some work and then hope that somehow someone will find you.
Yeah.
Being found is still a notion. Like being found and hence your business picks off is actually a real thing in people's heads.
Yeah.
We are like far removed from it because we have kind of sort of done a bit of the grind, but a lot of people actually live in that fantasy world.
Well, and it's funny too because I have two thoughts on that. One is and some people do get found. So go shake hands with 50,000 people. One of the people that you just shook hands with will eventually get found somehow. Good luck, right? The other thing is I have people come to me, specifically on the podcast front, and they're like, well, man, how do I get a podcast, out there that's as big as one of yours? And I look at them and I go, well, if you go back in time about 8 years and then you do a bunch of work, right? And they kind of look at me like you're making fun of me. And to a certain extent I am. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't just happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we did start the shows when there was, podcasts were still kind of new and there was some serendipity around it and stuff like that. But you can still build these bigger shows, and I would argue that in a lot of ways it's actually easier.
Yeah,
because podcasts are more mainstream. Yeah, there's more competition on it too, but you've got to do something to stand out above the noise. And Instagram is not Instagram on its own is not a strategy. Like how you use it is, but there's going to be more than that. You have to be where your audience is and all that marketing stuff that you're talking about.
I can see how if you just freaking got really good at using Instagram to make it work and build a marketing strategy around it, maybe that will take off too. Like that's legitimate. And if you have a plan and a purpose and a mission and you actually go after it, maybe that will work. But you have to have realistic expectations that you will not just get found tomorrow, and instead of getting 10 downloads an episode, you will start getting 100,000 downloads an episode.
I keep hoping I'll get found because my parents left me with the wolves.
More or less. The fantasy of entrepreneurship is very different.
Yeah.
From the real work.
Yep. But for most people, I mean, your success as an entrepreneur is going to boil down to how hard you want to work.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all. Well, and the people you leverage.
Yeah. Oh, totally. That's totally fair. But yeah. Anyway.
Josh is still thinking about his thoughts.
I think mine's gonna be that attention is expensive, and you want to think carefully about how you spend it.
Mm.
So we did a test last month where we've debated about whether it's worthwhile asking people to whitelist you when they sign up for your email list. And so we did an A/B test where we split half of the incoming leads into an A group where they got asked to whitelist us, and then half not. Ran about 2,000 people through it, and then I compared the engagement levels, and they're identical. So basically, I mean, no effect that we can discern,
except that they got an extra email.
No, it was part of the welcome email. So what a lot of people do is like they send a welcome email, and like one of the few things, like there'll be like a call to action. Usually it's like whitelist me so that you get my emails. I think so. If you look at the people that actually did that on our list, it was people that were already opening and clicking everything. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a net benefit because they were already the most engaged people. So why not just do it, right? Well, that really doesn't have any value for them. If you're going to add an extra call to action, it should be something that adds more value than just whitelisting me. So, having somebody reply to you and engaging them in conversation, like that's great. Like that'll really help. Can really help your deliverability. Getting people to, and like, so clicking a link is a very strong signal to Gmail that people want your email. So if you're including that secondary call to action, you're actually bleeding people off who would have done the first thing. And so you're basically diluting. You're splitting your focus and diluting, and so so I just think it's a kind of I think it's something that's really old school from 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, when there was a lot more corporate spam traps. The spam filters weren't as sophisticated as they are now, and there's more impactful ways to spend that attention with people. So. But yeah, just in general, thinking about is what I'm asking them to do going to give enough value for me to ask them to take that action is a good way to look at things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, when you said attention is a very expensive resource, I was actually thinking our own personal attention, but I see what you're saying.
Well, that too, yeah. Your audience's attention was where I was going with that.
What? Sorry, I was paying attention to something else.
All right.
Chuck's got his iPad and his phone and his
BlackBerry. All of them. Yeah, my BlackBerry. I had my BlackBerry out the whole call.
He's got cheerleaders out there cheering for him.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.
Yeah. Bye.
All right.